was born in Illinois, January 14, 1945. He grew up on a farm and lived with his aunt and uncle after the death of his parents. He has two sisters, Leannis and Shelley. He has 4 children, Kathy, Billy, Kelly, and David, and 2 stepchildren, Deb and Jeff. He loved all of his children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren very much. Larry worked as a correction officer in Ohio for 20 years and retired with his wife, Betty. Larry and Betty were married 20 years. Larry loved wood carving, riding his motorcycle, fishing, reading, reading westerns, and watching westerns on TV. And of course, playing cards. They lived in Ohio and traveled to Florida every winter for the past 14 years. Larry and I always talked about our children. We have separate children. Let's get that straight. When Larry and I would talk about our respective children, the one thing Larry was always so proud of is that when his daughters were young, he took each of them on a date. And he was just really proud that he took that time to take them on a date. His daughter, who has a video, will talk more about it. But that was probably his prideful parenting skill. His favorite saying to his children was, "When the going gets tough for everyone else, it's just right for a seed." And the quote that his poker players will remember is, "Sometimes you're the dog, and sometimes you're the hydrant." Larry always felt lucky to be near family and friends in Ohio, and then wintered in Florida, and to have the wonderful friends he has with all of you. Thank you all for coming and celebrating Larry's life today. We're going to have a video from one of his daughters who got snowbound and couldn't make it.
Weather with temperatures well below 0. We elected not to board our flight, and in addition, the flights were canceled. Enjoy your weather there in Florida and soak in some sun for us. We want to thank you all for coming to honor my father's life. We thank you for supporting Betty and our family. A special thanks goes out to Linda for coordinating the day and providing the awesome food. And yes, gentlemen, she is available. I thank our bonus sister Debbie for putting together the slideshow. My father meant so much to me and so much to many people. My sisters and I traveled and were at the hospital many times with Dad prior to our extreme loss. We shared a lot of laughter and a lot of tears. Dad was a man of character, a man with natural leadership qualities, and he was a strong, but he was a humble man. I once heard him tell a lady who was speaking a little sweetly to him, "Honey, I'm a redneck, White Sox, blue ribbon beard kind of guy. I don't know that you'd be much interested." Many of you know that song and can relate. Dad loved his motorcycles and cards. From the time I was a little girl, I always remembered card games in the kitchen.
I miss Larry's laughter, sparkle in his eye, his wit, his sense of humor, always telling stories, his street smarts, and the rapid rate in which he dealt with the curve.
Absolutely. My dad always provided sound advice, but he never ever pushed his advice. He instilled a drive in all of us that said, when it's too tough for everyone else, it's just right for a seed. So we approached life without ever giving up when life kind of was hard at times. And we always kept pursuing our dreams. What a wonderful gift he gave us. Our father took all of us girls out on our first date at age 13 when we crossed over to the teen years. Of course, we didn't date till we were 16. However, Dad showed us what it was like to be treated like a lady. He came to the house, he brought flowers, he took us to a nice restaurant, he pulled out the chairs for us and kissed our cheek, kissed us girls on the cheek goodnight. He showed us what it was like to be treated like a lady, and today I'm very blessed with a man who does treat me like a lady. There's so much I could say about my father, and this is supposed to be a short, quick video with a quick wish that I wish we were with you. I want you to share your stories and your laughter and enjoy this day remembering my father, Larry Seed. Thanks again. again for being here today. Thank you for honoring my father and supporting our family. Thank you.
Larry's son, his wife had surgery, and so he could not leave her to be here. And Larry's other daughter is a nurse, and somebody took ill, and so there was no time off. But they tried their hardest. I have a
You got me.
Yeah, you got Billy. Got 1 out of 4. So this is a message from a neighbor that they have in Ohio. As family and friends are here to celebrate Larry's life, I can say Larry was a kind, good person that always found the best in everyone. I first met Larry and Betty when I moved to the Sheraton Weir neighborhood 20 years ago. They came out to the fence to welcome us after that, the fence seemed to be the focal point where Larry would bring me a plate of food or that he had fixed or just fixed by Betty. Some of his famous fudge also was appreciated. He would give me advice on DIY projects and help start that dang wood eater, leaf blower, and more. We had lots of good chats at the garage meetings, which seemed to start at about 2 or 3 and somehow last until dark. The world has definitely lost a good soul. Rest in peace, my good neighbor and friend. This is from Donna. Larry, our beloved brother-in-law and best friend in all the world. Larry was a friend to everyone and always ready to lend a helping hand to get the job done. As everyone knows, Larry loved to gamble, whether it would be at a casino, internet, poker, or euchre. He was good and also very lucky. We will forever love you until we meet again. Rest in peace, bro. This is from Gary and Helen. Somebody from the family want to speak?
Hello, everyone. I have a story, actually several stories regarding Larry. I spent many a morning sitting around the kitchen table, and we would talk about my mother's favorite topics: politics, religion, current affairs. So, in honor of my mother, I won't talk about that now. But Larry would always give you good advice, a man of few words. And I'll tell a story about his tool shed out in the garage. All of you guys probably have a big wall full of tools and screws. And I always needed something, and I would say, Larry, I need a toggle welder. And he said, it's down in the garage, Jeff. Go over to the second shelf in the drawer and open that drawer, and it'll be in the middle shelf back in the back. So I'd go to the garage and I'd look, and I wouldn't find it. I'd come back up and say, Larry, it's not there. And he would look at me and smile and shake his head. He'd say, did you look in the back of the door? Jeff on the left. He was always right. How he knew where that stuff was in that garage, I'll never know. So I'll remember Larry for many, many good conversations, and I'll sorely miss his company. So thank you. Thank you all for coming.
I'm just going to tell one short story. I'm not really known for my driving abilities, but after RJ died, I had his Lincoln, and Larry would like watch me driving and kind of like shake his head, and then one time he just flagged me down and came out, and he goes, can you see over the steering wheel? And I go, no. I said, but I'm looking like under the steering wheel. And he goes, well, how's that working? And I said, well, I've gone up on a lot of curbs, but other than that, I mean, it hasn't been a problem. And he goes, have you ever thought about adjusting the seat? And I said, no. So he adjusted the seat, and now I can see over the steering wheel. Would anyone here like to speak?
I'd like to say something about our cards.
Okay, go ahead. You want the microphone?
Yeah, the original one. There you go. I don't know how many of you know, but Larry wasn't only lucky, but he was a very skilled poker player. And he was sharp as a tack, but he didn't miss nothing. I'm gonna tell you right now, if you ever took them cards in this hand and stood them upright, between two fingers and that finger on top of them right there, you best get out. I learned that over a few years from watching him, because I bid a lot against him, and I'd always lose. I noticed every time he'd do that, he'd have a royal flush, or five of a kind, or something. So I learned then, after watching him like that, fold if he does that. So I watch him very close. But we love playing with Larry. You know, he didn't say a whole lot, but when he said a lot or said something, it was always something funny, like a crack about the fire hydrant. And sometimes you're the fire hydrant, sometimes you're the dog. He come up with things like that a lot. But I love playing with Larry. I really enjoyed him as a friend, and I really think that he made a difference in this world because of the man that he was. I was so proud to just be able to know him. God bless the family. Thank you very much.
I was kind of instrumental in getting Betty and Larry to move here. I had been contacted by her through an email. I had never met her. And she said, I understand there's a park model for sale across the street from where you live. Can you go in and take pictures for me and send them to me? So I did, and the next thing we knew, they were moving in. We lived directly across the street from them for 6 years, became very good friends, played many card games where we always said, he's counting cards again. He had an excellent memory for who played what, and he always won. And he was just a wonderful man, a good friend, and he will be missed.